everybody. This is Ayse Igundoğdu. I'm your host today. I'm the head of US institutional sales side in here at Kraken. It's your one-stop shop address when it comes to trading cryptocurrencies. Today, we're delighted to have Sébastien Borget, who is the COO and the co-founder of Sandbox. We recently listed Sandbox, a Sand native token on Kraken. So we're very delighted to have Sébastien. Welcome, Sébastien.
Hi, Ayse. It's great to see you face to face, and hello everyone who's going to listen to this interview. We're really excited. Kraken was the first exchange we ever started to be onboarded with crypto. So for us, it's quite like a big moment and celebration to be there.
Great, thanks. We're really excited, and I'm sure Kraken audience is as well. So today I really wanted to dive into, Sand. We want to learn more about Sandbox, and yourself as well. So why don't we just start, if you could, define with your own words, what is Sandbox all about? Maybe to someone who hasn't heard about Sand or Sandbox before.
Absolutely, it's a great starter. So Sandbox, it's actually a gaming virtual world where users can make their own 3D asset and game experience and monetize their creation and their playtime through the use of blockchain technology, essentially NFTs and the Sand, the main utility token of our platform. We've been pioneers in the space, building this Sandbox platform for over 3 years and building the Sandbox franchise for more than 10 years. Our background has been in mobile gaming, where when we initially launched that game as a 2D mobile game on iOS and Android, where users could create pixelated world just with a touch of a finger and share it to an online gallery. It turned out into a massive success. It grew till 40 million installs, 1 million monthly active users, 70 million creation, all of them sharing their creation in a gallery, but having no way to be rewarded for all the amazing content they brought. So when we saw the potential of blockchain technology and NFTs, we immediately thought to apply it to user-generated content. And that's how was born the idea of the Sandbox at the end of 2017.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's a 10-year-old game. It was a 2D single-player mobile game, and it went from there to all the way to here. I think that's how did you decide on that one? Like, how would you describe the 2011 to 17 versus after that? Like, what's the main drive up there?
Our vision has always been to turn players into makers, into creators. So from day one, we wanted to provide a creation tool, easy and accessible creation tool, so anyone could make their games. We're staying true to that promise, but the exciting part is like over that decade, we've gained a lot of maturity, a lot of experience into user-generated content, into working with IPs and brands, into like user acquisition, growth, and so on. And so when we've been building this new version, this time 3D multiplayer, multi-platform, PC and Mac first versus mobile, and we're putting those creation tools in the hand of users, we are just literally excited to see like what the community has been making. And it's kind of like seeing your kid growing in a way. Like you look at the product, you look past, it's been 10 years, it used to be a baby, it was kid, now I think it's entering like this almost more than teenager, it's entering like the adulthood age, and that adulthood age for Sandbox franchise also translates into being an open NFT-based metaverse, decentralized with governance involved and a real economy behind that enables to create new jobs, to offer value and rewards for the creators, and paving the way for a new business model that is called play to earn, where anyone who participates to the building of this ecosystem is actually rewarded for the value and time they bring in.
Yes, amazing, the growth. Now you have an adult, you have a grown-up product. So I wanted to talk more about like the NFT Marketplace within Sandbox. You guys launched, like a month ago. You guys first, ranked as the first in the virtual world. So Sandbox is a metaverse, is a virtual world. You can create games, you can create NFTs. You can own land and buy and sell creations via using the token Sand. So how do you see how often, what's maybe the most successful category within this marketplace? Is it like game assets or art?
Well, that's very interesting. Indeed, we provide different creation tools. Our NFT maker, that's very accessible and allows anyone to make those 3D assets, which they put for sale on the marketplace, which was inaugurated at the end of March. We already have been able to generate over 700,000 cents of peer-to-peer transaction, users buying among themselves, and the creator receiving 95% of revenue for the content they made, which was a true validation of UGC. But the place right now where Sandbox is the strongest, I would say, is around virtual land, virtual real estate. We are, I would say, one of the leading decentralized virtual world that's continuing to sell part of its map, since we already released only 50% of it, and we are planning to sell virtual land until the end of 2022. Land is a utility NFT, which enables you to publish your games, your experience into a virtual world and access monetization after, where players can come, they can buy via NFTs from your game, they can pay to access specific section and so on. And we've seen an incredible excitement around those land sales. People understand the concept of virtual real estate as NFTs. It translates into being able to sell out land within 15 seconds last week when we did our Euphoria land sale and we announced different parcels, either with NFT communities like the Bored Ape, the Voxodeus, or Zepeto, the major Korean-based social network, or electronic music artists such as Deadmau5 or Richie Otin. People want to be close to their favorite brands and community in the metaverse, own land there and use those land to publish experience that will be really exciting for them and for the community as a whole. Beside that, the NFT into the Sandbox virtual world, you can import, you can display crypto art NFTs, but we are in the gaming NFT category, which means that the NFTs that are being made on Sandbox platform are actually, they have a real utility. It's not just about aesthetic or scarcity. Here, it's really about how can I use this NFT? How can I interact and play with that NFT? And our virtual world, our game maker are the best place to do so. You can put enemies into your world. You can have NPC that will provide story, dialogues, adventure. And I think it's great if you can buy equipment as well to equip your avatar, or you can just buy wearable to change the look and feel of your avatar and defining your identity. And it's really great at the end of the day that you can finally do something concrete with your NFT, and using them can even facilitate how you're going to create games or earn revenue as a player to play to earn.
Yeah, you mentioned a few really important things. One is definitely the land. I think people having hard time to find the suitable real estate nowadays in the real world. So maybe that will drive them to go on the virtual, estate. And you guys are one of the pioneers. You mentioned about the top sales. Are you do you think that will evolve? Like what are the land prices nowadays?
Well, before talking about land price, I think definitely we're seeing the idea of owning land, what you can do, what it enables, already evolving. It is now a fun experience to own a land, to discover what are the right parcels for you on the marketplace and on the map, to be closer to the community, to be a stakeholder in the platform success. Because when you own a land, it's like owning a business into a new country or a new town. Like you want your business to be successful and your town or your country to be successful. You're going to hire people. So it creates new jobs into this digital economy, whether they are like architects, artists, virtual fashion designers, content curators, hosts, and people who are going to animate the community from within that land. And you're going to utilize that land to engage with your community, the people who follow you, who want to buy your NFT, to get closer to them, to offer true value, social interaction, chat, dialogue, animation, and so on into a playful environment. That is how land should be perceived. How is land price evolving? It's been increasing through the demand on the secondary market. Initially, we've been selling lands around $30 to $40 back in December 2019. I think now the average secondary market price is more toward the $800 to $1,000 for 1-by-1 parcel. But during the latest auction, for example, we've been able to see some parcels sold around over 500,000 sand, which roughly represent probably $150 to $200,000, depending on the exchange rate. And that is great because you have a lot of choice. Exactly. You can pick a small parcel or larger one and decide how you're going to use it, distribute it, resell it if you want, or build your own business ID, bring it to life into a virtual world.
Mm-hmm. And the ownership of this land, I think the idea of ownership totally has changed, over the past few months, I could even say. So is it like owners of these lands usually located in Asia? Or I know you guys have a first community approach, you have a big community in Italy, but mainly I see that this, landowners are based in Asia. What do you guys, expect to grow in that department?
Our community is really global. We have US, Korea, China, Japan, Italy, and Europe among our top 10 territories. It's really exciting to be able to collaborate with communities from so many different parts of the world. They have themselves, they follow different projects. They are artists, local artists, each one with their different talent and aesthetics and all of that, and different IPs and brands that are cultural and bring culture to our virtual world. So when we partner with a Skull, like a Korean artist who does reggae music, or Deadmarsh, Richie Houghton from the UK, it brings their fans from such country. And then in the virtual world, we no longer have this, I'm French, I'm an American citizen. We are just citizens of this metaverse. No matter where we are, what's our background, we get a new identity. It's a new melting pot in a way that provides new opportunity for everyone who is interested to contribute. About the idea of ownership, it goes even further. As part of the Sandbox ecosystem, we're starting to see DAOs happening, which is like group of people who are buying lands, hiring creators to build experiences on top of their land, acquiring sand token as well to finance the creator economy as part of it. And they are acting as the new builders and the new publisher and distributor of games in our virtual world, kind of becoming small states within that world. I think it's interesting because everyone incentives are aligned. We all want the success of the platform. We are all contributing to actually this circular economy where players and creators are going to be exchanging, but we are doing it in a totally decentralized manner and very, frankly speaking, in whole autonomous. Like they don't need to ask us permission to do so. So it's exciting to see when game studios, DAOs, publisher, creators just pop up here and there and use the tools and the NFTs you're creating for developing new services, new experience, and so on.
Yeah, I mean, I also want to ask you about the governance of Sand, and what's its unique value to bring the ecosystem, and how do you see that will evolve in 5 years, let's say?
Well, I see a bright future for the governance. It starts right now, it's still very centralized in a way, like we are the main owner of still half of the 50% of the map of the land. We still own a certain percentage of sand into our company reserve. But over the next 5 years, and probably much earlier, all the sands, all the land, all the NFTs will be 100% owned by the users directly. And we're just here to provide more services and the tools to facilitate those landowners, those sand holders to participate in key decision, voting, submitting decisions, submitting improvement proposals through the DAO, really shaping the future of the world the way they want it. And it's really also shaping in the way, and I really like that direction, that we show the way with bringing creators, supporting with the foundation, the content, the experience to be made. Then we allow progressively that little baby to grow on its own, voting for the best of the future of the world. We've seen virtual world existing for more than 25 years. If we look at Second Life or World of Warcraft, or even more recently, Roblox, which has been there for 14 years already. And we think like it will go much more beyond just 5 or 10 years. Like what we're starting today might be very different in 25 years, but I'm sure it will still be here. And it's great that it could continue to live on with the users owning the asset, the decision, the currency, the lens of it.
Yeah, I hear some future coders over there. I also want to ask you about do you think how easy to create a game? Like anyone could create a game? Do they need like a background of, coding? Or, I really wanted to point out that because that's like a really could create like a mass adoption, especially, in crypto via gamers.
Well, it's we always design our creation tool to be as accessible as possible. So the Game Maker is actually a no-code tool. You essentially take NFTs made with our NFT Maker or on the marketplace, or import it from external collection. It's just drag and drop. You do not have any coding, so they already come with behaviors. Like it can be an enemy, a character, a platform, a vehicle, and so on. And within minutes, you can make game experiences. We also have daily live streams to support creators. I think in total, over a month, there's over 100 different streamers and streams that helps other creators on how to use the tool and showcasing all the possibilities behind. And all of that is community driven as well. It's not run by us. I think that's really the beauty of like an ecosystem that wants to grow onboarding other creators to the possibilities of it. It's something that only could happen thanks to the use of NFTs and Sand token behind.
Yeah, I also, wanted to talk about like a little bit more brands and IPs, and also what Sandbox has a comparative advantage to its competitors. I see like Smurf, Atari, Roller Coaster Tycoon in one place. Is that expected to grow over time? And what do you see as the comparative advantage of Sandbox?
I would say it's great to have many different virtual world, decentralized virtual world. Like if you want it to be decentralized, you cannot just have like one and only one. You need to have a plurality of experience, each one with their own specificities. Some virtual worlds might be more focused into running events, art galleries, crypto art, or museum. At Sandbox, our background has been into gaming for the past decade, and we really focus to bring on like mechanics that are traditional to gamers and can allow us to gamify even lightly the virtual concert or art galleries, etc. It means you can have like victory condition, inventory, quest, items, platformers, fights, better camera control, and so on. And we see the community is already very receptive to that and leveraging those possibilities. Every morning and every night, opening social media, I can see all the content they make. It's very encouraging. We love to see user-generated content. And bringing IPs, bringing brands, it's also part of the DNA of Sandbox company. We've been doing it, again, for a decade. We've been working in the past, in previous Sandbox Mobile already, with Shrek, Ghostbusters, Pac-Man, and so on. And here with a new Sandbox, as you said, like we have Atari, Roller Coaster Tycoon, Shaun the Sheep, Care Bears, the Smurf, just announced Rishi Otin, Dead Mouse. And there's pretty good lineup of more IPs, whether they are like music artists or they are like Hollywood TV series that are coming up. We'll be announcing them progressively. Do not spoil too early the content because it's pretty exciting. And I think it will be first time ever seen such big brands into metaverse, allowing their community to create games with their NFTs. And essentially, IPs and brand, they bring several things to Sandbox. They bring the culture content, so content that you can play with and create your own stories, adventure games, and experience with. Culture, because when you enter a virtual world that's new and empty, there are still elements you can reference to, whether they are landmarks, your favorite brand, your favorite content, and characters, which you can interact and like to go more there on the map, seeing their logos and so on. And finally, they bring the distribution because they are going to onboard their fans into our virtual world. Some of them will stay only for the IP. Majority of them will stay and discover more and more IPs overall. So they will be, maybe they will come for Atari, but then they will stay for the Care Bears, the Smurf, and Richie Houghton. And it's a great mix in a way. Like, I don't think there's any other place, even into centralized virtual, where you can have such a mashup of IP. We want to make it as close as possible to the vision many people in the mainstream have of the Ready Player One movie, where you see all the characters running to the end and all big IPs in there. I think it's a great visualization of the goal.
Yeah, you guys are a true gamer, I could say. And do you also envision that like a traditional game brands will come and reach out to you guys? Like, did that happen at all?
It's already happening. I guess having been for 3 years in the space and with the recent, I would say, bull market that attracted more and more users into crypto, the traditional game industry has been paying more and more attention. Also through the effort of the Blockchain Game Alliance, which is an organization I'm the president of, which represents 230 companies in the space. And it includes bigger game studios company like Ubisoft, like Gameloft joined recently, AMD, just to name a few, that are looking closely at the possibilities of the technology. And we're still hesitant on how to bring it into their own titles. Now they see Sandbox and the land as a possibility. It's like a new platform like the App Store, Steam, or Epic Stores are, with the benefit of like community-driven approach, NFT based with ownership for the users, interoperability of their NFTs that could be used not only in Sandbox, but potentially outside of the ecosystem, and the voxel based aesthetic that in the video game industry is so much widespread already since Minecraft.
Yeah. And looking back at the Sébastien 2021, what do you see as a good result? You know, what would you say, okay, this was the accomplishment of 2021 in Sandbox so far?
Well, there's many ways to look at it. And one of the first, I have a few KPIs that I really like. The first one is the fact that we have over 200,000 registered users. And out of them, so the users who took the action to connect a wallet to our website to participate and engage with the different activities, half of them never had a wallet before. So they created the wallet for the first time with either an email or a social login using partners like Bitski or Arcane wallets. And it shows that we're able to grow that market and attract audience beyond the main crypto audience. That's the first success. The second success is like how we are really pushing the UGC creator economy and supporting with our foundation creators around the world. We have over 150 voxel artists around the world that's being supported to publish content on our marketplace. And we're really proud to have more than 50 projects led by individual or teams that are creating the first game and experience for Sandbox. But over the last months, there's been already something new happening. Like rather than people just doing the project as, I would say, a hobby, they are turning entrepreneurs themselves. They are incorporating a new company and they're starting to hire locally artists as their team to be the first professional game studios that will be building games in Sandbox for themselves and for all the other landowners, because there's more than 7,500 landowners, which make us the most decentralized virtual worlds to date. And they are, not all of them are creators, but they are going to look for talented creators for hires. And they understood there is a business model for them. So I'm really trying to encourage them, more and more entrepreneurs, to follow that route. We already have in France, in Scotland, we are setting up there's a founder that's setting up in Norway and Vietnam, in Korea, in Hong Kong, and I'm really calling out there, like anyone who understands the possibilities of building games into a virtual world, to look more closely at Sandbox, Sandland, our ecosystem, and reach out to us if they are interested to launch their own entrepreneurial adventure and build their game studios with us.
Yeah, we will leave the Sandbox links down here, but I also, wanted to mention and ask, so much happening within Sandbox, quite exciting. 2021 is the year for Sandbox, although the brand itself was there a decade ago. Is there any exclusive for Kraken audience and any new things you can share with us? Something that maybe you haven't mentioned in any other podcast, but just for Kraken audience.
All right. So this is a very recent podcast we've done since our last land sale, and we've seen a lot of excitement from NFT-based communities such as the Bored Apes or Artifacts community or Voxodeus community, and something quite new happening in the space where they both, as a community, various lands, they are coordinating themselves around what each one of them will build individually in their land, so that as a community, it's a greater experience. And I love to see like how community is really leveraging virtual world, leveraging our tools for giving even more value to themselves, because they came out with initially another project, like creating an NFT collection of avatars, and they are leveraging our virtual world to play, interact, socialize, have their own hubs and places where they will be able to connect and do more things with their avatar. It's really powerful. And I think this is a new trend that's accelerating. As such, we decided that interoperability in Sandbox should be key. So we are opening what is called the NFT bridge, which it's something that will essentially make the Sandbox an open metaverse where any NFT collection could be matched into Sandbox by another representation, which allows you to play and interact. So you can think like now with the Meebit, with the CryptoPunks, or again, Voxodeus, Bored Apes, you could take yours and then have a one-to-one unique avatar that represent your NFT, and you can play it into a virtual world. And that's something very exciting. And I'm sure there are other communities out there beyond those NFT collection, whether they are exchanges like Kraken or game studios and so on, that will be leveraging the platform as well to engage closer with their audience.
Thank you, Sébastien, for educating more on Sand today. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss any token listing. See you on the next one.